Good afternoon, friends, followers, channel members. How are we today? Happy Monday. Sadly, it is not a mileage Monday flight, but even so, we've got a decent length stream for you this afternoon. Flight time's around 2 hours 30, 2 hours 40 minutes. I plan on being here for the full time as well, so I may have to just nip off for 10 minutes here or there, child depending, of course. But other than that, you're going to have me for the entire duration of this afternoon's stream, so I think that's quite nice. Why was there no mileage Monday? I shall tell you why. Because the liveries are broken, that's why. The plan that I'd got just didn't work. So instead, thankfully, my channel livery, the Easyjetsimpilot channel livery, is all working well, as you can see on stream. That said, we are on VATSIM, which has a number of liveries, of course, from other players flying around, so we're just going to count the crash to desktops. Try that again. Count the crash to desktops together during the flight this afternoon as we fly from Mykonos to Milan. This is a real-world flight, a real-world Easyjet flight, call sign Alpine 76 Papa Charlie. You can find that on Flight Radar 24. I don't think it departs actually in real life for a couple of hours, but there we go. So great to see all you guys here. Welcome to the channel members. Hello Combrig, hello Barry, good to see you guys. I think I saw Dark Fury as well a little bit earlier on. And Alan on Facebook is watching us as well. So all fingers crossed, all looks well. We've got a beautiful day here. We'll check what the weather's going to be doing in Milan a little bit later on. Right, should we get on board and see how far we get before anything goes wrong? Famous last words. Right, ready to fly. Okay, so we're obviously in the flight deck. We've got no issues so far. I do get the feeling it is going to be one of those streams where anything and everything could happen. So we shall have to just wait and see how we get on with that, I'm afraid. But never mind. Let's get the FlyPad turned on and see how we get on. After that, have we got the power, the GPU? Is that knocking about somewhere? Do we even have one? Some frame rate issues just there. So I'm zipping between the different views. There we go, back in. So the operational flight plan is pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube if anyone wants to follow that through. RP Beastie, hello. Leonard Weber, hello as well. Right, now that's sorted, let's get the batteries on. Battery voltages are good. Let's get the external power turned on. Now that's connected up, all is good. I will do the cockpit voice recorder test, and we can go online the ideas. So this is the first time that I will have flown on VATSIM since the update. So we're going to have to wait and see really what happens with regards to that. Okay, let's come down here then and check out the information. There's our operational flight plan loaded in. QNH is 1010. And operational flight plan, let's check the weather in Milan, see what we're expecting, and then we'll decide what fuel we're going to load in with. Milan, winds light and variable. Can't see anything. Temporary showers of rain, potential thunderstorms. Nothing there though, which suggests like visibility is going to be well, basically looking what's the chances that we're going to have to go around. Going around obviously means extra fuel, so aside from that, I mean there are only slight possibilities at the moment. Let's have a look. Planned block fuel is 9.2 tons. If we took 10 tons, we should have absolutely plenty. So if we take 10 tons, that's about a ton extra compared to what we need. So that's fine. Just make a quick note of that, and then let's go ahead and start loading in 10 tons. Oh, I keep forgetting now, I don't have to use those sliders because I can actually type in here, that's the most exact fuel loading you'd ever get. You'd never be able to load bang on a certain amount. But real and done. Okay, we're refueling. Okay, so now that is all done, let's come across and continue setting up our flight deck. So, what was the QNH? It was 1010, wasn't it? Let's pop that in the standby, and we can see anti-skid is turned on. The clock is showing the correct time. That might actually be a couple of minutes late, to be honest with you, but that's the time on my PC, so I probably need to update that. We'll come down to the pedestal and check all the levers and everything. Those thrust levers aren't in the right place. We're on Unicom 122.8 as well. Let's put those back where they belong, shall we? Switching panel, thrust levers, engine masters, engine mode, spoilers, flaps, parking brake, and transponder should not be on. There we go, that should be left in standby, and I don't think we've got any ATC on at the moment, so we'll leave that set to 2000. If anybody is having problems with the simulator, I guarantee I will come to the chat and help. At the moment I'm not monitoring the chat too much, just whilst we're getting set up. Obviously I want to try and get us airborne soon as we can, and we're going to start loading the passengers as well in a couple of minutes. So let's check and do that now. I'm using self-loading cargo as always for the passenger sounds, so let's tell them guys they can begin loading the passengers on board.
Cabin crew, we're all happy with the happenings that are up here, so now open the doors and we'll start letting our passengers on board. Thank you. No problem.
Okay, so I think our passengers are boarding. Seatbelt signs are not yet on, purely because we're still loading fuel. I think I've said this before, when you're loading fuel you don't have the seatbelt signs on because, well, if for some reason there was a fire, you want to be able to get everybody out nice and quickly. Right, so our RS is all aligned, no portable devices currently showing, and system status is all normal. Right, let's come and set up the McDo. So we'll go to our ATSU AOC, init press, let's just clear the scratch pad and load everything in from SimBrief. 2 hours 39 minutes the flight. Let's go to our performance, weight and balance, ignore the fuel page. 179 passengers, and we can just check that payload information, compare it with the operational flight plan that is pinned at the top of the chat. That is correct, 18616. Let's set a different C of G, shall we? It's never bang on 30. No load master is that good. Okay, now let's load that, check the gross weight changes. There we go, that's all loaded. Okay, now IRS, we've got 3 nav green, and aircraft status, LEAP engines, valid air cycle. Go to our init A page, init request, and we'll get the uplink from our headquarters. There we go, our alternate is Zurich. Flight number is, as I've said, Easyjet Europe, so that's an Alpine call sign today of 76 Papa Charlie. Pop that in. Cost index of 8 as per usual, and a flight level of 380 minus 46. Let's just quickly go ahead and change that then. And then the tropo is about 54,500 feet. 54,500 feet. Let's go ahead and edit that. Okay, then the flight plan. We're going to be departing runway 34 on the VAX-1 Charlie. Departure. There it is. Slightly different from the operational flight plan. We're not doing the VAX-1 Fox. So VAX-1 Charlie. And that's inserted. We're going to be arriving then in Milan. We're going to plan for runway 35 right arrival. That is ILS 35 right Zulu. There it is. Nice long runways in Milan. And that will be coming in via, I think, is Inla correct? Let's have a quick look at that. In fact, I've not set the star up yet, have I? It should be we've got the MEBA 2 Echo in there. MEBA 2 Echo, which should be via Inla. Let me just double check. Yep, Inla is correct. And insert. Distance of 997 miles. The operational flight plan has 991 miles, 6 miles difference. So we're very happy with that. Okay, that's all done. Right, the RadNav page. We do want the Mykonos VOR on here. So let me just pop that into the RadNav page. Mike Kilo November is the identifier, and we're going to need that just in case we have to return back to the airport, of course. So there we go, 110.1, that is correct. Init B page, 0 fuel weight and 0 fuel weight center of gravity, 59.6, that is correct as per the operational flight plan. And what we've loaded, our trip wind for our flight today is a headwind of 41. That's going to slow me down. Headwind of 41. Fuel planning suggests 7.7 and we've got 9.9. Looks like all that fuel is loaded, so we'll get the fuel pumps, APU and seatbelt signs on in a moment. Takeoff weight 69.3 and fuel required for our alternate then is 1.8. I'm going to call that 1.9 just to be on the safe side. Always be conservative where fuel is concerned. Which means we've got plenty of fuel for if we have to go around or hold. 39 minutes extra flying time. So that's all done. Performance then. Transition altitude here at Mykonos is 6,000 feet. And thrust reduction acceleration is 1389, so rounded up, that's spot on, as is engine acceleration. Noise abatement 2 departure, flaps 1. And in fact, you know what, it's a shorter runway, so let's go flaps 2. 136, 132, 131. Okay, now that's all done, let's have a look at how we're going to fly the departure and indeed how we're going to taxi, because a bit different to the norm, this airport. It's a very small airport, parking stands are not very big, and we have to backtrack as well down the runway when doing this. So let's just have a quick look. So we're parked at stand number 3, so we're going to push back, we're going to face south then. We're then going to taxi down via Alpha to holding point Alpha 2. We're then going to backtrack for runway 34. We have to use the turning pads. We can't spin the aircraft around wherever we want. We wouldn't want to anyway. It's only a shorter runway. Actually, to be fair, I've not got a takeoff calculator in front of me, but we'd probably be able to do flaps 1, so that's probably not too... we could probably have got away with a flaps 1 departure there. So yeah, do you know what? Let's do it. Let me just change that. I should now get a message once I've changed this. Yeah, check takeoff data. There we go. Okay, so we can do flaps 1 departure. Right, so speaking of the departure then... oh, no, that's not the departure. That's the arrival. Here's our departure. So straight out, and then a maximum speed in the first left-hand bank of 210 knots. After that, a max bank of 230 knots until we're then on our way to Varix, the end of our standard instrument departure. So in order to facilitate that, then let's check. Looks like we're going to fly we can actually fly the first turn. We'll just leave flaps 1 out there, and we'll pull a speed of 199, and then after that, once we've cleaned the aircraft up following this first bank, we're then just going to target clean speed, green dot, 225. So let's program that in, 225 pre-selected. The max speed is 230. We're not going to fly at the max speed. We might as well just fly at green dot and save some fuel. Okay, so that's all done and programmed in. Looking good. Let's just see how that departure looks on the actual plan. So that's not quite accurate. We don't make that left-hand turn until we've passed 4 miles from Mykonos. So we're going to keep on the runway track until that point. Then we'll make that left-hand turn towards our first radial. Other than that, all that looks good. Initial climb is 6,000 feet, same as our transition altitude. Air traffic control is not online. If they were, they may give us a different level, but we're on our own for this. Let's go back to arc mode and 20. So there's lots of terrain around the airport, so let's just do our emergency brief. So if we've got any problems on the ground during taxi, we obviously stop the aircraft and tell ATC. If it looks like a serious issue such as fire, we need to let the crew know. If it's a minor issue, we'll just stop, let ATC know, and then depending on the failure, we can try and troubleshoot that ourselves or return to the stand. On departure, obviously it'll be my takeoff. If we have any problems or warnings before 100 knots, we'll consider stopping, but after 100 knots and up to V1, we shall only stop for uninhibited ECAM warnings or cautions, an engine fire or failure with or without thrust loss, or if we think the aircraft is completely unsafe to fly. If we do decide to stop, I will call stop, and then we'll go to a max reverse, keep the aircraft nice and straight on the runway, and I'll use manual braking to stop us on this short runway. If it is an engine fire, I'll also attempt to point the aircraft into the wind as well. Once we come to a stop, we can stow the reversers, set the parking brakes, and announce to the cabin crew to be attention all stations. We'll then just stop, have a look, make sure we know why we've stopped, and confirm any failures on the ECAM. Once we've established the cause of the failure, we can either run the ECAM and ask ATC to vacate the runway, or if it's more serious, looks like we need to get everybody out, we can then consider running the emergency evacuation checklist. But before doing that, you want to make sure you're doing the right thing, so just give that a few seconds thought, because passengers are normally injured if we have to get them out via the slides. But if we have a failure after V1, it becomes a bit more complicated. So by that point, we're committed. We have to get the aircraft into the air, and if it's an engine failure, we'll fly using a standard technique of a 12.5 degree pitch initially, following SRS, and I'll use rudder to counteract any yaw that we've got. Once the aircraft has a positive rate of climb, we'll get the gear up, and I can trim out the yaw, at which point we shall pop on the autopilot for that. We will, however, need to pull the heading bug nice and early, because this is a non-standard departure here because of the terrain around it. So it's a non-standard departure, meaning that at 0.4 miles from the Mykonos VOR, which I'm just going to turn on here so we can see. So at 0.4 miles from there, we need to make a left-hand turn to a heading of 270. After that, we make, when we're 1.4 miles from the Mykonos VOR, we make another turn to enter the hold back at Mykonos VOR, and we basically just circle the VOR and we'll troubleshoot. And the holding pattern is comprised of right-hand turns. Once the engine is secured and we're above single engine acceleration, and we've done our first turn, we can then push the level off, accelerate, retract the flaps on schedule. A green dot will pull open climb and select maximum continuous thrust. Once we've got at least 1,500 feet above the aerodrome, we can look to continue with the procedure I've just outlined, and once we're in the hold, we'll decide what on earth we're going to do. Okay, well, that's the emergency brief complete. Fueling is all done, which means I'm going to get those fueling pumps back on. We'll get the passenger signs on, and I'm now going to start the APU because I think it's very warm here. I think it's about 35 degrees. So let me just come down and check what that's showing. That's something else I'm playing with fire with, really. I'm hoping the temperature problems have gone away and we get good aircraft performance. 35 degrees. So APU is now firing up. Once that's fired, we'll run the before start checks below the line, to the line. So there's our departure briefing all done. Boarding is now completed. And have we still got steps there? All doors are closed. So as I say, just while I am doing this,
all the passengers are on board and we're ready to go. I'll bring you a cup of tea after we've taken off.
Thank you.
so as I say, whilst I'm just prepping the aircraft for departure, and we're doing a real ops flight today, which is why we're doing everything correctly, then I'm not paying too much attention to the chat, so I will come back and answer any questions that you guys may have got, or any problems you guys are experiencing.
Cabin crew, we're all ready to go, so please arm the doors and cross-check. Thank you.
APU is now online, I think, so we're going to welcome the passengers on board, and we'll disconnect ground power, then we'll start running the before start checks.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. My name is Gavin, and I would like to welcome you on board this Easyjet aircraft. We expect a good flight with you today, with no weather problems showing in front of us, so we should be pushing back within the next few minutes or so. For now, the ground crew have now finished loading the last of the baggage into the aircraft, so if you could get yourself seated and secured, then we can make sure we can depart on time. The cabin crew will shortly be providing their safety demonstration video, so it would be appreciated if you could give them your full attention. A special welcome on board to our Easyjetsimpilot members, and if you wish to inquire about becoming a member, please contact a member of the cabin crew. All our Easyjetsimpilot members are of course entitled to free drinks throughout the flight. Thanks very much, and we'll give you an update once we are airborne.
Okay, that's all done. Let's run the before start checks to the line. So our cockpit preparation then is now all completed. Just checking the overhead and everything's where it should be on there. Signs are on and auto. Our ideas we checked, we've already got 3 nav green. Let's just look at that fuel quantity, 9980, and check that's also loaded correctly and balanced, which it is. The FMGS is coded and altimeter is 1011. Right, that's all good. Let me have a look at calling the tug then over in place now. Using the toolbar pushback, which has required an update since Sim Update 5 was announced. Combrig, yeah, she brings me a cup of tea. I like this cabin crew, she's a good one. Other things to consider as well are things like the weather and any NOTAMs and threats. We've already identified the terrain around here as probably the biggest threat. The weather's absolutely fine. The only other threat I can think of is the simulator itself. Right, that's all good. We're ready to push back. We best announce our clearance actually on VATSIM. Let me just check there's no ATC around. No, there's not. That's fine. So are we on Unicom? Yeah, we are. Mykonos traffic, Alpine 76 Papa Charlie, stand 3, pushing back facing south on Alpha. Okay, so that's done. Let me get the rotating beacon light on. And nose wheel steering disconnected. Start the timer. And standby. And we're ready to go. Before start checks below the line, windows and doors are closed and armed. Rotating beacon light is on, mobile phone is on silent, parking brake is on. We're about to release that and we'll start the pushback. So parking brake is released, we're good to push, and we're going to start engine 1 in a moment. So steady pushback, engine mode selector to ignition, and starting engine 1. So a nice steady pushback from Mykonos. This is Mykonos Airport from 29 Palms Studios. We did a giveaway of this the other day. Sadly, I didn't get in to land here. We had to do a go-around with a big gust of wind on final, which was rather realistic as well. So that was quite nice to see. And if we just have a quick look outside, we want to be very careful with how we make this pushback. As I say, not a lot of manoeuvring room on the ramp, and those drivers just don't care in Greece, do they? They'll taxi under anything. Say, I'm not going to rush the speed of this pushback. Unlike the ground crew in Madrid, I think they practice, I think they have bets as to who can push their aircraft back fastest. Ace of Spades, if you're referring to the pushback add-on, it's called Toolbar Pushback, available from flightsim.to. So engine 1 should be more or less stable by now, which it is. Let's get engine 2 on. I've just turned the air conditioning down as well on the aircraft. As I said, it was rather warm. No other aircraft departing from Mykonos today. Danny, what does the cross symbol mean on departure to that point you need to fly over? I think it's just the way the navigation display shows VORs. So it's a VOR symbol. So, did we start engine 2? Oh yeah, started engine 2. We're just looking for a good start there. Having some frame rates issues when panning around. Once we're actually fixated and I'm not trying to look quickly, we're okay. Now, strangely enough, I think there is a bug which I only discovered the other day during the live stream, is that I can't actually alter basically all inputs from your side stick are redundant when panning.
A safety card is in your seat pocket showing the exit routes, oxygen masks, life jackets and brace position that you must adopt if you hear brace, brace. There are 2 emergency exits at the rear, 4 in the middle, and 2 at the front of the cabin. Floor lighting will guide you to an exit. Please be aware that your nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, leave all cabin baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted, and released as shown. It must be fastened when the seatbelt signs are on, and we recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen. Put the mask over your nose and mouth. Hold in place with the strap. Pull on each side to adjust. Put on your own mask before helping others. If we land on water, take the life jacket from under your seat. Put it over your head. Pass the tapes around your waist. Click together and pull the strap to adjust. Do not inflate it inside the aircraft. When outside, inflate by pulling the toggle. If it fails to inflate or needs topping up, blow into the tube. There is a light and whistle for attracting attention. We also carry flotation aids for children. Your tray table must now be stowed, armrest down, window blinds open, and seatbelt fastened. We wish you a pleasant flight with Easyjet.
Okay, after start checklist. Anti-ice not required. Ecom status is checked. Pitch trim set 28.4. Rudder trim set 0. Pushback is clear. Let's announce our taxi clearance. Mykonos traffic Alpine 76 Papa Charlie, taxi now via Alpha to holding point Alpha 2 for runway 34. We'll also get the weather radars and predictive wind shear turned on whilst we're here. We can also ding the cabin because it's a very short taxi. Taxi lights can come on. And we'll do a quick flight control check.
Please prepare for takeoff.
Full left, neutral, full right, neutral, full up, neutral, full down, neutral and rudder, full right, rudder, full left. Okay, let's just release the parking brakes. They're done. Alright, let's taxi out. We'll do our PEDS check as well as we're doing this relatively short taxi. So no change to the performance. It's going to be a toga takeoff. QNH still 1010. Engine out procedure is, remember, non-standard, so 0.4 miles from Mykonos VOR. It's a left turn 290 and then a turn to another turn at 1.4 miles to go back to the hold at Mykonos VOR. There we go, that's our taxi done. I told you it was short. Departure matches what we have in the FMGC. Stop altitude is 6,000, confirmed 6,000 blue, and just quick remember that we need to maintain runway track until 4 miles DME from Mykonos, and then we can get on track. Maximum speed of 199 throughout that first turn. Okay, let's I've not had any other traffic. Let's announce our lining up. Well, backtrack and lining up. Mykonos traffic, Alpine 76 Papa Charlie, lining up runway 34 via backtracking at Alpha 2. So before we do that, let's get the strobes, runway turn-off lights, well, get them all on basically. They're all on, and we can also put TCAS on before we enter the active runway. So that's all set. Okay, let's start our taxi out then. Nice and steady. We don't want to be going too fast down the runway, and certainly don't want to fall off the other end.
Cabin crew seats for takeoff, please.
Okay, before takeoff checklist to the line. Flight controls are being checked. We've done our departure and emergency brief. Flap settings config 1. FMA takeoff data 136 blue 141 magenta climb nav blue 6000 blue 1FD 2 and toga takeoff. Transponder is set. ECAM memo takeoff no blue. Electronic flight bag is stowed. I need to turn the packs off, but I'm not going to do that just yet, because even a couple of minutes with the packs off in this sort of weather will melt the passengers. Once we get airborne and I've done the departure, I'll come and have a chat with you guys in the chat room. As I say, I do apologise. I know I'm ignoring the chat room for the time being, but hopefully if you've got any questions, then you'll have been writing them down during the last 5-10 minutes or so. But a big welcome to everyone, and thank you for watching. Hope you're going to enjoy this flight with us this afternoon. We'll also make sure that we're ready for any sort of wind as well. We should probably have briefed that as well, but wind shear at this airport is a real threat, so we need to be aware of that on departure. Okay, nice turning circle. I am obviously set in the left-hand seat, flying, so we go via the left-hand route. And we want to try and get as much runway as possible. So, fully locked on the rudder. It would of course be the tiller in real life, not the rudder. easier to do that in real life than it is here in the simulator, surely. There we go. So we're not going to taxi too much further. We want full length of the runway if possible. Okay, so the plan is we take off, and at 0.4 miles that's when we'll begin our left hand turn. Before takeoff checklist below the line, let's just get those packs off. But cabin is secured for takeoff. Engine mode select norm, TCAS TARA, packs are off, anti-ice most certainly not required. Okay, let's go. Takeoff. Start the chrono, set 50% N1. And set takeoff thrust. Mantoga, SRS.
Check.
V1 and rotate. Nav.
Gear up.
Slight wind there, I don't know if you saw that. So 4 miles, that's when we're going to make that turn. So I've got the terrain radar on. The terrain radar doesn't actually work, so that makes no blooming use whatsoever. And let's set climb thrust. Thrust climb, climb. Pack 1, pack 2 coming on. Normally you'd leave about 10 seconds between the two, just so you don't blow the eardrums out of the passengers. So remember, we're not following the flight director laterally at the moment. 4 miles out, then we're going to make that left-hand turn. And we're going to raise that nose in a little moment. You should see the flight director start to come up as we've set 199 knots. Basically flying at S speed. That's 4 miles, so now we shall make that turn. And we'll get the autopilot on as well in a moment. Okay, autopilot 1 now engaged. Now we're through the first turn, we can increase our speed to 225, which was green dot. We're past S speed and can clean the aircraft up. Flaps 0, spoilers disarmed. Johan, good afternoon. I am using live weather and I'm keeping a very close eye on that because I'm not sure 44 degrees at 5,000 feet is entirely accurate. Speed and Alt Star with no ATC online, so let's continue our climb. We're going to set a climb rate of, we'll go to 20,000 feet, so flight level 200. In order to do that, we're going to set standard pressure now as we're above the transition level. Flight level 200 blue and thrust climb, climb. Yeah, look at the ISA there. Plus 34. That's not correct, is it? Plus 35. The higher the ISA away from 0, the more unrealistic, sadly, the simulator is. So we may just have to go with a few clouds and set a weather preset. because I am using live weather at the moment. I was kind of hoping this had been fixed. So much for the hot fix, eh, Azobo? I flew the other day and it worked absolutely fine after the hot fix.
Keep your seatbelt fastened while the seatbelt sign is on. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. Toilets are located at each end of the cabin. Remember that smoking is not permitted at any time. This includes e-cigarettes.
Coming up on 10,000 feet. We're now turning towards Varix as well, so we can go back into managed speed now once we're through that turn. There we go, that's managed speed set. We'll turn the terrain radar off because that's not working. I think we're going to just have to use a weather preset because we're going to struggle to climb. We're going to burn a copious amount of fuel. Look at that, we shouldn't be burning 4.2 tons of fuel. So what we'll do, because that's a great shame, let's just turn that off, and just to keep it a little realistic, we'll just set a few high clouds. There we go. That should now have a much better... there we go. And look at the fuel flow. Fuel flow drops to a much more believable and realistic level. Clear the RadNav page out. And we want flight level 380. 380 is doable. That's our cruise for today. So we can go ahead and set that now. Flight level 380 set. 380 blue. And we're on our way. So now we're quite happy. I'm happy to release the cabin crew. They can get your drinks sorted. And the passengers.
Ladies and gentlemen, the seatbelt sign has now been turned on. You are now free to move around the cabin and the toilets are now available. However, when in your seat, we recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times in case of unexpected turbulence. Please contact a member of the cabin crew if you require assistance. Thank you.
So, Mad Pilot, you spoke to someone the other day and said the graphics didn't change or were downgraded, just the saturation, which is why it looks like a downgrade. That's an interesting theory. Not entirely sure I agree. So guys, I've got a video coming out as soon as we finish this stream. I've been working rather hard all weekend. It's been painstaking. But the video that I will release after this this live stream has finished, you may want to stick around for, because it does help get a lot of your graphics back. Because who was with me the stream we did the other night going to Niagara Falls? And oh, it just looked awful. And I felt so deflated after that, and I thought this can't be right. So after a lot of tweaking and research, spending hours in the simulator this weekend, much to the disgrace of my wife, basically there is a way around it, and we're gonna have a look. JJ Smallpiece, you wanted me to post what was it? My thrust lever settings. They're just nice and linear. My thrust lever settings are all done on the electronic flight bag, so it doesn't matter what they look like. In the simulator controls itself, it's all what's coded into the electronic flight bag detent settings. That's what's important. Don't try and mimic my settings. Just use the calibration tool in the settings page. Move your thrust lever to the bottom and set that as idle. Move it to wherever you want your climb to be. Set that. Move it wherever you want your flex to be. Set that. Move it wherever you want your toga to be, which is probably right at the very top, I would hope. And set that. Don't forget to hit save and apply as well. Combrig, update 5 got you a divorce. Nicholas, you thought I was 22? Oh, I wish. Canada Shark, wow, that's great regarding the new graphic settings. Thank you in advance. Just another reason why your favourite. Oh, that's very kind of you, Canada. Video, which livery am I using? I'm using the channel livery. The Easyjetsimpilot channel livery. JJ Smallpiece, I've seen some of your comments on the video saying your iPad doesn't work. The only reason your iPad would not work is if you've got the incorrect version installed, or if you've still got the stable build installed from the marketplace, or if you've got another mod in your community folder which is conflicting with it. You need to strip everything out, my friend. Go to your marketplace, go to your content packages manager in the simulator, and remove the stable build. Pilot Pat age is just a number. Indeed. Maxim's been a member for 5 months. Thank you, Maxim. I'm very curious as to what would happen if I attempted to use live weather again now. Might wait until we get to our cruising altitude, and then we can have a look, see what's happening. I have to say, I don't notice any degradation in the clouds when we're just talking about high-level cirrus clouds. They make no difference. They look quite nice still. And regardless of the graphics downgrade, or whatever you want to call it, optimization downgrade, it's still the best looking damn flight simulator around, isn't it? Bliss, sadly you're getting no icing effects on the fly-by-wire. I don't know if that's normal. Do you mean actually on the airframe itself? Well, no, you shouldn't do. When the simulator first came out and everything was full of ice, that was wrong. So now you've got it right. JJ, you've got the developer installed. You've never installed the stable mod. You've tried emptying the computer folder 4 or 5 times, then reinstalled. It makes a little difference. You see, that's just very strange. JJ, you and our Discord. Would love to see some screenshots of what's going on there. Reese, you wonder how much these people get paid to break a completely great game into a CTD masterpiece. Do you know, they're going to have to do something. That said, I was suffering crash to desktops all morning. That's why Mileage Monday was cancelled today. Because the livery I wanted to use wasn't working. Alfix Fallen Four, can I explain how the managed speed works for autopilot? Your managed speed is dependent upon your cost index. It will also respect any speed constraints in the SIDS or the stars that are coded into the flight computer. Gorka, is Mykonos airport available with the new version of Sim Update 5? Strangely enough, Gorka, the first time I loaded into Mykonos this morning, whilst planning this flight for this afternoon, the sim crashed. I reloaded it and it worked. It's almost like everything needs to load the first time and it's going to crash. The second time it's there, it's ready, it's optimized, and I don't know, it's almost like it flicks a switch. Every time you load something in for the first time, bang, crash. Load it in again, just crash the desktop, restart the simulator, load the exact same situation again, same livery, same airport, and it'll work. Which begs the question, what the hell's going to happen when we get to Milan? Mind you, Milan isn't a handcrafted airport, so it might be okay. My shit, is the overlay not working? Let's have a quick look. Oh, indeed, you're right. That's very strange, isn't it? Is that something to do with SimConnect? Maybe that's something else. Sim Update 5 broke. Oh, I haven't said that. No, it worked the other day, didn't it? Colin, good afternoon. Do I use the caps key to talk to Unicom? Funnily enough, I do. How did you know that? Right, let me just close Fly Live Studio down. Gorka, am I using Rex weather or the normal weather? So I'm using normal weather, but I'm on a preset because the temperatures were completely messed up. Okay, let me just try the banner, the overlay at the top again. See if we can get that working. What's the call sign? 76 Papa Charlie. That's a nice call sign. Rolls off the tongue. Oh, there we go. It just needed reinitializing. That should all be working rather fine for you just now. Good to see. Brad, you started getting crashed desktops occasionally the second the tyres touch down. That's very unsatisfying. Yeah, I would imagine that is. Reese, Flight Simulator shouldn't be about worrying if the game is going to break, but that's what it's turned into. Please fix. I have to admit that does seem to be the case for many at the moment, myself included. There's Athens, a beautiful view of Athens. See, I don't think that looks bad at all, but I have been playing with my graphics all weekend, to which I'm going to release a video after this stream is done. But yeah, that looks pretty neat. And if I zoom in, I mean, we're miles away, so I never did this. I never did this anyway. I would never, in a stream, have done that. Because you know it's going to be blurry. Of course it's going to be blurry. It's a flight simulator. It's not the real world. But Sim Update 5, straight off the bat, just looking at the normal view like this, everything looked terrible, so... So, Colin, you followed my VATSIM setup. That's how you know what I use. Fair point. Do you have to be on VATSIM to do so? What do you mean, Colin? Do you have to be on VATSIM to do what? Imadude says, Craig, turn it on now. It'll take a few days to download the update. It was a huge update, wasn't it? A huge update. Now, strangely enough, I just heard the little static sound, which you normally hear when a message is sent on VATSIM. Oh, that's annoying. Right, okay, so you know the messages sometimes, if you followed the stream in the past, the text message you'll sometimes see pop up in the middle of the screen as a message. They're no longer showing. I wonder though if that is because I've turned them off in the simulator. I turned everything off in the simulator following Sim Update 5. I might have to put those back on because I need to see those. Uh, 737 Captain says, love my content. That's great from a 737 pilot. Zobo messed up, and their silence says a million words. Well, did they mess up? I'm not going to sit here and bash Zobo because of the work that they have done, but I can understand everybody's frustration. Hello, am I flying on live weather or is it still broken? Well, it wasn't broken the other day, I flew it absolutely fine, but I have had to go to a weather preset because it was broken. I'm going to get to cruising altitude and then I'm going to put live weather back on and then we'll see what happens. So again, that to me looks absolutely fine. Do you think following Sim Update 5 we're all now looking at the graphics through different eyes? Do you think we're looking at it, looking for the problems where we never used to before? We just used to look at it and think, wow, that's amazing. And I've just read what MacPack22 said. Try flight simming back in the 90s. Blue screen of death. Do we still have the blue screen of death? I've not seen that for a while. Touch wood. Yeah, that looks nice and sharp. That looks nice, sharp, clear and clean. Happy with that. And I'm not going to zoom in any more than this because then it's just unrealistic. But then again, if I did... yeah, I'm more than happy with that. So, hopefully the graphics video I'm going to post after this may help some of you guys as well. Ghostfire, have I had any problems with CTDs? Yes, I have. But the biggest cause of CTD is... be careful with this. The biggest cause of CTDs at the moment appears to be liveries. That has made a big problem. So, what are we at? We're at flight level 350 now. We've got any ATC knocking about. Not for the moment. Colin just wondered if you had to select another key to talk to Unicom. No, it's exactly the same. So my push to talk button on VATSIM is caps lock, and it's the same whether you're talking to Unicom or whether you're talking to an air traffic controller. Flight level 360.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase a selection of hot beverages, together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated. And if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
So not a mileage Monday long haul flight today, but long enough for me to be here all afternoon. I've just been working quite hard this afternoon. Tried to clear the clear the books of things, and then I can spend the afternoon with you guys. Right, we're about 1,500 feet away from reaching our cruise level. Once we've done that, I'm going to try and pop live weather back on, see what happens. Thank you to Eduardo for liking the stream on Facebook, and to Greg as well. As well, could it be possible to let a copy of the sort of my settings in? I tell you what I will do as well. I will pop it in our Discord server because you'd have to download it, so it would need to be hosted somewhere. So I can probably pop that in our Discord server and do it that way. Hopefully, that should be good enough for you guys. So we'll do our top of flight checks once we get to flight level 380. We'll also get some en route weathers as well in case things go wrong, which, let's be fair, it's probably more prevalent now than ever. I don't like flying without real world weather though. That for me is a major immersion killer if it's not working. The thing I love about this simulator when I was doing the long haul flights is obviously I'd have this in front of me all day, and I would be quite happy just looking out of this window view for the entire duration. I never get bored. I think the visuals are stunning. Vito, thank you very much for subscribing. Really do appreciate that. And Pirate Lord number 1 on Twitch says, hi, which software do I use for the announcements of the cabin? So that is from Self-Loading Cargo that I use for that. MM says, same here, you don't like it without live weather, it means where's the challenge? Indeed. Right, we should now be Mac and Alt Cruise, there we go, we just missed the FMA changes, but that's okay. We knew they were coming. Right, so we're going to do some checks in a moment, but let's see what happens if we go live weather, flick this on, and what I'm looking at is the temperatures down here. Let's see. That is correct. We've just lost a bit of altitude, but that's okay. You would expect something like that because all the winds have currently changed. However, now we've got live weather. We've got much better temperatures. Colin, are my custom window views downloadable? Yes, mate. Yes, they are. If you're in our Discord server, they're available in the pilot's briefing room. Christian, actually, you've just made a good point. Hello, Christian, by the way. Good to see you. And Air Trooper 37 popping in. Copying a user config is not a good idea if you don't change all the necessary values for your own PC, like the GPU adapter and package location. So, as I say, stick with me. After this stream, almost straight after this stream, a video is coming. And I guarantee it will help all you guys out. But yeah. Those graphics are looking far better. Even the clouds don't look bad either, to be fair. Don't look bad at all. Anyway, we're at the top of the climb, aren't we? We need to do some checks. So let's just check the SD pages. We're going to have to keep an eye on this now. This is going to be a major thing for us. So, engine performance. Absolutely fine. Bleed page looks good. Cabin pressure, nice. 7.6 and just over 8,000 feet. Yeah, the passengers can breathe that. Electric page looks good. Hydraulics 3000 psi as they should be. Fuel is fine. We've used 2.12 tons of fuel. That matches up. We set off with 10 tons, so that's good as well. No fuel leaks. APU turned off. We've got the cabin down at 21 because it was very warm back in Greece. Doors closed and armed. Wheel temperatures, or rather wheel brakes, 25, and all flight computers working. Excellent. Oh, and system status page. All good. So, let's get back up to flight level 380. Not quite sure what was happening there. Thrust climb. Christian Carr, thank you for being my PM just there. I expected the aircraft, after injecting the weather, just to climb its way back up to flight level 380. It turns out it didn't. Which is a bit strange, isn't it? But never mind. Okay, at Vardy then, we have got 7.8 tons. Let's check how that fuel burn's going. So at Vardy, where is Vardy? Oh, a little bit of turbulence. A lot of turbulence. 29 minutes in. And we've got 6.7, so we should have about 7.7, 7.8 tons showing. Oh, bang between the two. Fuel burn spot on. And how's our time doing? That's coming up on 29 minutes now, and Vardy 29 minutes. We are on time, we are on fuel, and we've got live weather working. Woohoo! Aviation Guy 123, you were just flying and surprised you had a CTD. Oh, we're counting how many I get of those today. Well, let's come down and have a look at the weather, shall we? So, init press, not init press, weather request. Right, so we can clear out Mykonos. We're not going to be going back there. We'll pop Greece, which is behind us. We've obviously got Milan showing ahead of us. But if we want to just check what other airports around us are available to land at, should we have any major issues or concerns. We've also got what have we got? We've got Tirana International coming up, which is Lati, L-A-T-I. I'm going to pop that in there. I'll get rid of Zurich for now. I'm not too bothered about Zurich. We'll also have Dubrovnik, which is LDDU, isn't it? Oh, try that again. Send those off. There we go. Mac Alt Star. Level 380. Alt Cruise. There we go. It took a bit of fighting, didn't it? It's taken a moment to deal with that turbulence. I'll have a look at the weather charts in a minute, see what was expected. But that headwind that we've got, we did brief that down on the ground. Maybe those seatbelt signs need to come back on. I'm going to try and read this flight plan in a minute, and let's just have a quick look and see if we were expecting anything. Oh yeah. Okay. Shush. That's not good. Oh, look at the speed. Look at the temperatures. We're going to be on edge for this entire flight, aren't we? Thrust idle descent. We're almost above our maximum operating altitude there. In fact, let's go open descent, not managed. Let's go open. Bring this back in line. Oh, how annoying is that? It was working, wasn't it? Come on, Azobo, please, please, if you do nothing else, fix the live flipping weather. I'm gonna have to program the METAR in manually, aren't I, by the time we get to Milan? Mac Alt Cruise. Passengers are happy again after throwing their tea, coffees and beer all over themselves, bless them. Never mind. Well, maybe we can just throw in different types of weather as we go on. In fact, fully enough, speaking of weather, those reports should have just come back in. Let's have a look. Air Trooper 37, will a hotfix come or are we going to be taken for a ride? I really, really hope that they're going to fix it. I mean, this is too perfect though, isn't it? ISA at 0. That's far too perfect. Before, when it was plus 14, you'd expect that. We're over the Greek Isles. It's very hot, Mediterranean weather, etc. But yeah. Anyway, what was I doing? Weather. So in the real world, let's see what's happening. So back in Athens, ceiling visibility is fine. Currently in Milan, we can expect light variable winds. So we're going scattered and broken, 26 degrees, QNH 1013. That happens to be quite nice because it's standard pressure. And below us at the minute, and coming towards Dubrovnik. Luckily for us, ceiling of visibility is okay, so actually this preset of just high level clouds is it's pretty spot on and quite realistic. Do you know what? Damn, that actually looks good. Gaming Ben, you've just raised a really good point. Are Xbox users having live weather issues too? I have no idea because I don't have an Xbox. Do you know what? I hope so. Would it be very cynical of me to suggest that if Xbox users and the Xbox version have got a problem, it's going to be fixed faster? Elitist Maggie, why am I not using live weather? Because we get ridiculous temperatures, meaning we have downgraded engine performance and therefore we just burn through fuel. Not only that, we can't maintain the altitude. Remember your school physics classes, boys and girls. Hot air is what? Denser or lighter? Sorry, denser or what's the opposite of dense? I've got I've had a mind's gone blank. Not as dense. Nick. Oh, Nick, you are so kind, Nick. One of our longest supporters here on the channel, with a remarkably kind donation, Nick. That's amazing. Do you know what? We're going to do that. But Nick says, get yourself a copy of Rex just as a backup. I've been using it for when the weather fails, and you don't have to restart the sim or anything. It just injects the weather when you set it to clear skies. Nick, I used to use Rex for FSX. Great product. I just never used it for this because, well, why would you? We had great live weather, but we don't anymore. So Nick, thank you so much, mate. We'll get that sorted, I think, because I think this is going to be ongoing, isn't it? Really sad. Which airport's that? Nick T, good afternoon. Lighter. Yeah, dense and lighter. I like Christian's version. It's called less dense. Well, at least we can cruise away now. Do you know what I've not done? There we go. Driddy, Captain, what flight sim do I suggest for you since you're new? Oh, mate, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yeah, it's bugged out a bit at the minute. But for the last 12 months or so, it's been amazing. I trust it shall be amazing again. Quaffle, there's been quite a few performance calculators around. None of them I have found to be too realistic. So this is the time of the flight where we can just kick back, relax and enjoy the beautiful scenery from Microsoft Flight Simulator, which again, thanks to some mods I have done. Mods is the wrong word, not mods, tweaks. Tweaks is the right word. And as I say, if you haven't heard already, there's a video coming up straight after this, which should hopefully help you guys as well. That looks better than it did previously, much better. And I love the fact I can even see the rivets in the engine cowling. Drill it, yeah, even with your specs, that'll work absolutely fine. Ethan 555, when do I think they will fix the game? Oh, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. That looks nice down there. Who here has got complaints about what they can see just here? Eh? I mean, that's beautiful. Treed Women, how to practice before doing your first flight on VATSIM. Right, Treed. Check the channel out. I did a video, and uploaded a video with that exact question. And it shows you the best way, well, what I think is the best way, for you to practice on VATSIM before actually going on VATSIM. So do a quick search for that. Hopefully you'll find it. What have you been controlling your aircraft using a mouse and keyboard? Oh Lord, you're going to be the best pilot in the world tomorrow. Christian says this looks fine, and why can't you select this in the terrain data? Is that because the Xbox can't handle it? Masters of Disney Adventure, how did I get sharp textures at higher altitude? Stick with us, Masters. I'm going to teach you how. I promise there's a video coming out almost straight after this stream's done. I just wanted to check everything first. And that to me is pretty much looking like it was before. Sean Duff, a lot better than what we have had before in terms of out-of-the-box scenery. Oh, well, even with Sim Update 5, it's better than out-of-the-box scenery of any other simulator, isn't it? Am I using FlyByWire or the stock A320? FlyByWire. FlyByWire dev build. Yeah, that's a view I could sit and look at for quite a while, actually. Just excuse me, guys, 1 minute. I'm going to have to just crack the office door open because, my word, it's getting warm in here. Whilst I can turn the air conditioning down for the passengers in the cabin, I can't actually turn it down here in the office. Reese Island, hello on Facebook. He says you're on the Xbox Series X Flight Sim. How are you? I'm very well. How are you finding the Xbox version? Air Trooper 37, so I mentioned that Rex Weather is really worth buying. Well, I have a word with Nick. Nick says he's been using it. I'd say if this weather bug is going to persist for a while, then probably yes. Christian says probably that's why they've downgraded it, because they didn't want the Xboxes to explode. Well, the heat coming out from my PC at the moment is enough to keep me warm in the winter. cheaper bills for me, except for the electricity bill. Nick, you're off to work in a minute. No problem, my friend. Thank you very much as well for your kind donation today. Nick, it is a separate video, so it won't be at the end of this video. It is a separate video, so you can look out for that. Anyway, you want to know if I found a workaround for the altitude problem with air traffic control? I think that's been fixed, or as far as I know. Do you know what would be really cool? If I could find a ATC controller online somewhere and ask if they can see us on their radar and see what altitude they've got us displaying at. Let me just see who's around. Oh, Athens radar is online. I think we're out of their airspace. Do you reckon it'd be worth a cheeky call? I can send them a private message, can't I? Let me open up a private chat. Let me see. I'm going to just send them a message, guys. Just bear with me 1 minute. I'm just muting my microphone while I tap away. I'll be back with you in 30 seconds. Okay, so we've just sent them a private message. We'll see if they come back and see if they've got us on on their radar screens to see if they can see us displaying flight level 380. Doctor on board at the moment. I'm not on anyone's radar control. No one's given us a ping to. We may. I think we're kind of skirting their control zone. So if you're skirting the control zone and there's no traffic conflict around you, they may just ignore you. Waffle, you're really hyped for the FlyByWire 380. You're quite excited, although if you remember, I don't care for the big part. Oh, no, that's wrong. I can't wait. I would love to fly the A380. What I'd be quite interested in doing is one of these overnight flights. So I'll set off late at night. We'll have a couple of hours here streaming. I'll go to bed. You guys can watch it if you wish and enjoy the scenery. I'll wake up the following morning and we'll land somewhere. You know, we'll do like a good 14-hour flight. That'd be amazing. Have all you guys also updated your FSU IPC7 yet? That needs doing. Fly Eagle 320 crashed to desktop FlyByWire. Okay. Have you ever had the stable build downloaded? Have you ever downloaded it from the marketplace in the simulator? Have you got any other mods in your community folder? If the answer is yes to any of those questions, delete them. Then try again. Adrena says the view is amazing. It is. I think this is back to what it was. I really do. So guys, if you haven't done so yet, please do hit the please do give the video or the stream a like. I would really appreciate that. Works wonders for the YouTube rankings as well. So I'd be forever in your debt if you can do that for me. It's free as well, of course, which is always a great incentive. Waffle, yeah, we're 6 hours ahead in the UK. Trooper 30, you had 4 CTDs. Oh, that's nothing. I had about 6 this morning when testing stuff out. Treatment, is it possible to track you in any VATSIM maps? Yeah, I'm there. I'm online. Fly Eagle 320, it's the developer build you need. You have to have the developer build. Nothing else is working at the moment. And a big thank you to the Kill Dead Red Ted. What a great name on Twitch. Thank you so much for subscribing, and for Kevin liking on Facebook, and for Marie, who's also subscribed on YouTube. Good to see you. Reese, the Xbox does not yet have fly-by-wire at the moment. Not yet, anyway. Kill Dead Red Ted, I'm very well, thank you. Dare I go back on live weather and see what happens? Shall we try it? I'm expecting a very strong wind over from the left. So obviously pushing us to the right. Let's see what happens, shall we? Let's go live. Nope. Did you see that down there? Minus 91 or whatever it was. I made that number up, by the way, but it certainly wasn't realistic. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do then. There we are. Fair weather clouds. Scruto R2, thank you for subscribing. That was a terrible pronunciation of your handle, wasn't it? Have we just paused? Why did we pause? I must have caught that by mistake. Apologies. Definite? No, I don't use the virtual easy. No. Aviation Guy 123, can you have A320NX liveries in your folder and then install them to the fly-by-wire or not? Right, well, any liveries that you... okay, let me just strip that question back, because this is some issues I was having this morning. So you know that there are two Airbus 320s. There's the default Airbus A320 and there is the fly-by-wire A320. Now, around 3-4 months ago, the fly-by-wire version was kind of forked off, wasn't it? So we got two versions. The fly-by-wire A320 used to sort of piggyback on the back of the default Airbus A320, which meant that any liveries that were made for the default Airbus A320 worked with the fly-by-wire edition. When the fly-by-wire A320, or A32NX, let's call it that, let's call it the A32NX, when the A32NX became its own aircraft, liveries made for the default Airbus A320 no longer worked. And it meant you had to have liveries designed specifically for the A32NX from fly-by-wire. Now, with the installer that fly-by-wire brought out, they brought a livery converter as part of that. So you could convert any liveries you wanted to fly that were made for the default Airbus A320, you could convert them to A32NX liveries. Fine, that's great. I only ever converted the one that I particularly wanted to fly. There is no point in having 50 default Airbus A320 liveries in your community folder and then the exact same 50 liveries all converted for the A32NX. Makes no difference. You may as well just leave the default ones, and the only ones you want the default ones there is for, say, model matching on VATSIM, and obviously if you're using live traffic or want static aircraft on the gate. Now, since SIM update number 5, the livery converter from fly-by-wire in their installer doesn't appear to work. I attempted it this morning with several liveries and I just crashed the desktop every time. So you need to have specific liveries designed for the A32NX that have also been tested and redone for the simulator following SIM update 5. I appreciate that was a very long, detailed explanation. I don't know if that was that came across clear at all. I may have just really confused things for you. Let me know if you need any of that clearing up. But basically, I have one A32NX fly-by-wire livery in my community folder, and it is this one. Nothing else. I have lots of other liveries for, say, the Dreamliner, the 747 and the default Airbus A320, just so I've got model matching working for VATSIM, so I can see other people flying on those, but I only have one livery for the A32NX. Now, the problem why I didn't have a Mileage Monday flight this morning was because I was going to do a flight in Air Canada, and as it turned out, I downloaded some A32NX liveries from flightsim.to. None of them worked. I tried to convert a A321 using the fly-by-wire installer for the A32NX. That didn't work. So yeah, there's a lot going on with liveries at the moment. Liveries are causing a massive problem, and I don't know why. I'm not a coder. I don't understand how a skin of an aircraft can cause such upset in the simulator, but apparently it does. I think I need a drink after that. Air Trooper, has anyone seen live traffic flying? Yeah, I've seen live traffic flying. Yeah. Yeah, so that's working. Kill Dread Red Ted, thank you for hosting on Twitch. Socrates, when you're flying the fly-by-wire mod, newest dev version installed, the A320 wants to keep using a ridiculous amount of fuel. That's the weather problem. That is the weather problem, because if you're flying on live weather is bust, meaning the temperature at this altitude, 38,000 feet, is something ridiculous, like 58 degrees Celsius, which is of course not real. And because you've got very little air up here, because it's not dense, it's less dense, your engines have been starved of air, so they have to work twice as hard, which is burning lots of fuel. So we've had to use a weather preset, which is what I'm using now. How annoying. Alden, is it worth purchasing the Boeing 777? Why are you asking an Airbus pilot? I can't answer that. I wouldn't, but I don't fly Airbus. Sorry, I don't fly Boeing. Christian, my livery is just too good to cause a CTD. You wonder who did that. You know, you have no idea how close I was to contacting you and saying, are we good? Oh, look. Nice sharp textures. Beautiful. Kill Dead Red Turd, do you have any advice about joining VATSIM? Right, the advice I would give you is come over to YouTube. I know you're watching on Twitch. Come over to YouTube, check out my channel, exactly the same name. There is a video dedicated to teaching you how to start on YouTube, how to start on VATSIM. Right, just bear with me one sec, guys. The dog's barking, the girls are asleep. If the girls wake up, I'm screwed. So, I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back with you. Dog's fine. Right, so, are we still looking good? We still are. Everything appears to be working. So we're nearly an hour into the flight. Everything's still looking really nice and good, apart from live weather not working, of course. But aside from that, yeah, really rather nice. What is that? Where are we? You guys can get YouTube up and work out what on earth that is, just off the southeast coast of Italy. We're about to fly over Brindisi. Never noticed that before. Dr. Magic, hello! You did miss boarding, but I'm not turning around and picking you back up. All you've missed so far is textures looking really rather nice and broken live weather. Aside from that. Happy of any 51 on Twitch. Can you play the sim without crashing? Do you mean the computer or yourself? Killed Everett, the best thing I can I say to you with regards to talking to air traffic control is if you want to learn sort of the lingo, then you can listen to air traffic control live online. I forgot what the app's called, but there is an app available which you can use. And it's live ATC as well. Wayne, is it the Colgate ring of Wayne? When did you pop in? Good to see you. Waffle, is Microsoft going to release another hot fix? Thought you saw somewhere that they might. Oh, where did you see that? Please do share. We'd all be very interested to know that. Mark Jackson, how's the fly-by-wire holding up? It's holding up very nice, very nice. But the liveries could potentially break it. The liveries are the biggest problem at the moment. That looks nice and neat down there, wherever that is. I'm just glad my custom camera views are still working. You have no idea how relieved I am to get some decent textures back in this simulator. Christian, are the dogs still asleep and are the girls barking? The girls always bark and they're only 2 years old. No, actually, I didn't realise. I thought my wife had popped out. She's back now. But apparently, unbeknown to us, we locked the dog out of the house for half an hour. I thought it was quiet. So the dog just been walking up and down the estate. Thankfully, we have a nice quiet cul-de-sac and everybody on him knows the dog, so if they'd have seen him, they'd have just been like, oh yeah. But yeah, he's been just wandering around on his own for the last half an hour, foraging for food, which, to be fair, is his favourite hobby. Really, is the update good or bad in terms of performance? Well, in terms of performance, it's amazing. But at the expense of graphical accuracy, let's call it that, shall we? Rob920, is the experimental build broken? Oh yeah, don't use the experimental. The experimental's not been used for a long time. Fly-by-wire currently updating that. We should do a fuel check as well in 179 miles. Alright, we'll do a fuel check in 179 miles then. Realistically, you'd only do a fuel check every half hour, hour or so. Aviation Life, do I have the temperature issue after? Yes, I do. I was just going to say, let's try live weather again, shall we? So ISA is 0. Hold on to your hats. Ah, suddenly it's working again. No, it's not. Plus 93. Okay. What an absolute pain. Karen, what is the best freeware add-on for Microsoft Flight Simulator? Oh, it's definitely the FlyByWire A320 NX. But then I'm biased because I like Airbus. Hamid on Facebook, thank you so much for following. Denny on Facebook says, so as today and... Oh, basically he's saying that it's screwed up and it doesn't work. It has broken lots of mods and add-on airplane. Did you see the release from PMDG? I don't think they were happy. Christian plus 93, that's what you call a face melter. Well, that was ISA plus 93. Killred, I'm afraid I don't know when the Phoenix Sim is going to be released. I wonder how this update has affected them. Really, you don't have to have any add-ons at all. If you just want to do some nice VFR flying and enjoy the world, anywhere you want to go in the world in a nice thing, small general aviation aircraft, you don't need any add-ons at all. It works beautifully right out the box. Vasco, how are we supposed to fly on VATSIM if we cannot enable live weather? Yeah, I know. Well, I'm on VATSIM at the moment, and I'm just going to have to sort of make up my own weather preset, I guess. But Rex is an alternative. So you might have to go ahead and use that. So Denny says you're flying the default Airbus from the smart guys at Azovo and you don't think any airline would hire you. You've constantly been going up and down the entire way from Iceland to Boston. That sounds like a fun flight. Hope you've got plenty of sick bags. Amin says that Azobo shouldn't combine the PC and Xbox together. They should separate it. It's a disaster after the update. Well, you're not the only one to say that. Maybe they will down the line. Who knows? Ah, oh, look. Clean textures at 38,000 feet. Love it. So we're about 1 hour, we're about an hour and a half away from landing. Like I said, it was going to be sort of a long afternoon stream, and I was going to be with you for the duration for this, so hope you're not bored of me yet. And as we've just passed Brindisi, we're going to have a quick look and see what the weather's doing around the world, in real life, of course. So let's get some more weather updates. So we'll check Brindisi, which we've just flown over. So that's what pilots do in the real world. Constantly, basically, preparing for when things go wrong. Right, Brindisi is LIBD. We can also check, where else can we check for? Let's have a look at Rome as well. Oh, hang on. LIBD, just popping that there. I'm keeping Milan, which is our destination, at the top. And we can also put Pisa in there as well, which is LIRP. And we'll send those off. So, Denny, I know you say you're flying the default one, which you're having problems with. Something tells me, and I am sorry to say this, Denny, but it sounds like user error, because even the default aircraft doesn't fly like that. But there are some things you need to know with airliners, particularly if you're brand new to them. And the Airbus is a strange one anyway. Certainly doesn't fly like a Boeing. Thank God. Did I say that out loud? Company messages come through. Let's check those weathers out then. So Milan is still looking alright. Ooh, winds 1304. They might still keep us landing on runway 35 just because the terrain coming in the opposite way isn't great. So I think they need to get up to a certain wind level before swapping that over. But Brindisi ceiling visibility is fine, as is Rome and Pisa. So it's just starting to get cloudy at the base of the Alps. Well, no great shock there. I also want the terrain radar to start working as well. Sadly, obviously, that's not worked since sim update number 5.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase from our selection of fresh food available today. Full details can be found in your in-flight brochure. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we could be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
So I'm just checking, and currently Milan are still using runway 35 configuration. They're using 35 right for departures. What are they using for landing? One of the things we could do is also check on VATSIM to see if that's available to us. So in the real world, we're actually landing on 35 left in the real world. Okay, that's good to know. We can prep for that. Don't know if the star is still the same. It might not be, so let's go ahead and have a look. So just open the charts list, and we'll also get the airport. Runway operations. 35 left, 35 right. Yeah, that's what we're using at the moment. And where's the parking stands? There we go. Actually, I think Easyjet park here, right at the far end, so ignore that. So we're going to land and taxi, roll out. We could take Delta Mike, would be our best bet after we've landed, so we can then taxi up towards parking stands up here, Terminal 2. A337, you flew into Edinburgh yesterday and everything was missing. You only had jetways. I've seen a few people say that. Willie! Good afternoon, Willie. Hope you're well. Sebastian, I don't know how you change the sounds on PackX. I don't use it. I use self-loading cargo. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh yeah. We're now using runway 35 left. So, which approach are we using for that? I'd like to use the Mebu 1 X-ray. Can we use Mebu 1 X-ray for 35 left? Yeah, 35 left. 1 X-ray. Let's open that chart up and have a quick look. Oh yeah, it's valid for 35 left and right. It's for non-nav equipped aircraft only. Oh, okay. We can't use that. Okay, we're still using the level 2 Echo then, which takes us to Inla, and then in for 35 left. Well, in that case, let's just update this. So we're going to go to 35 left, Zulu. Still using Inla, still using the level 2 Echo. We'll press insert, but I want to make sure that we're still going direct to PES because there was a problem with that. So I'm going to select heading mode, insert. Yeah, see, it's just jumped, hasn't it? Oh, that's jumped right back to the beginning, 500 miles away. Okay, so let's go now back direct to PES. There it is. And insert. PES. Nav, back on track, and we've got 35 left in. Enter destination data. That's a bug. We're nowhere near close enough. We're still 466 miles away, so I don't need to worry about that just yet. Waffle, is it possible to do a tutorial on reading ChartFox charts? Navigraph seems a bit expensive for £75 a year. Sorry, $75 a year for the charts, and you haven't found tutorials on reading ChartFox. So the difference between the two is Navigraph uses Jepson, and I bet ChartFox uses. Does that use Lido? Couldn't think of the name then. Does it use Lido charts? Basically, are they the pretty coloured charts? Christian, I could pour coffee over the RNAV equipment, then that approach would be viable. I'd expect straight in and visual. Interesting way to look at it. So, still no ATC available. Sadly, guys, if you're sat on the right hand side of the aircraft, you've got a rather boring view of blue stuff. At least sat on the left hand side of the aircraft, you've got some land to look at. I'm always gutted if I'm flying and I don't have a window seat. And now I've got 4 kids. The chances of that happening again seem very remote. Might just have to take myself on a trip. Ethan 555, your plane will bank left or right unexpectedly. Is this something to do with live weather? No. That sounds like your joystick or flight yoke. Make sure the sensitivity settings have got a dead zone of around 15 to 20%. So guys, if you're enjoying the stream so far, please don't forget to hit the like button, and if you don't want to miss the video coming up after this, which should help you get all your graphics back to where they were following sim update number 5, then please hit the subscribe button as well for me, and turn on the notification bell so you know when that's released. Will be very shortly after the end of this stream. RSA Deleuze, hello, thanks for joining us. Carl Northeast, so you didn't realise that the Aussie Sim had dumped you onto this live feed. Well, you're welcome anyway. I don't know too much about flying in Australia. Different rules. UK Sim Pilot, 4 kids, and I still have this much time to do the flight sim. My wife must be very understanding. I usually do it when they're in bed. But not this weekend. She's been exceedingly understanding this weekend whilst I've been sorting out these graphics problems. So Carl, where are we? We are over southeast Italy at the moment. We took off from Mykonos, one of the Greek Isles, and headed towards Milan. This is a real-world Easyjet flight, call sign Alpine 76 Papa Charlie. If you get on flight radar 24, I'm not sure if when that's departed. It can't be too far away actually. Waffle, can I show you how to use the RadNav page, what its purpose is, and maybe a video? So the RadNav page is used just to pop in VORs, MDBs, old school navigation, but basically, and to pop in your ILS frequency, but that should be done automatically. So we should be on the ground in about an hour, all being well. I was going to have a look, wasn't I, to see if ATC was online. ATC request for Limk, which is Milan. Let's send that off, see if there's any ATC there. I might do another live weather check in a second. And we'll see. Just going to wait for that to come through. Once we get to Papa Echo Sierra, we'll also do a fuel check. Aviation Guy 123, how do I know what the ILS frequency is? Stick with me, I'll do the approach brief pretty soon. Because we'll be on the ground in about an hour, which means top of descent is probably about 30-40 minutes away. It is not available, that means there's no controllers currently at Milan. We're just skirting over the coast of Italy, as you can just see. If I put the VFR map on, you'll be able to see that. There we are. Carl, have you got time enough for dinner? I don't know. How long does it take you to cook and eat your dinner? Niels Boxdown, thank you for subscribing. Really appreciate that. Christopher, hello. Christopher, you flew to Milan, no problems at all this time. You reset the rolling cache, restarted the PC, a flight plan after watching a tutorial, and hey presto, was all working fine. No idea why. Well. Carl, did I ever see FS Nav on earlier versions of it? Yes, I did. I never used it though. Jesse, you find it hard flying Airbus planes. You're used to Boeing. Oh, Jesse, let's convince you. Let's convert you in this stream. You and me, right now. Let's get you flying Boeing. Sorry, no. Let's get you away from Boeing. Let's get you flying Airbus. Airbus is so much more intuitive than Boeing. I promise you it is. Should we try live weather again? Okay, guys. Check the temperatures. The ISA is the temperature you watch. You want it close to 0. Let's see what happens. And dink. +5 is good. +85 is not. Off you come. Flywick, do I make infinite flight videos? No, I can't do realistic real ops flights on that. Louis, do I have a video on how to set up the views that I use in A320? I can go one better than that. You can actually download these views, install it into your simulator. It takes 30 seconds. They're available to download on our Discord server. If one of my kind channel members or regular followers can just call the Nightbot up for me to give a link to the Discord, or check out the channel description down below. You can download them, and there is a video then on the channel explaining where to install those. It literally is a 30-second job. The LQ2 Gamer, good afternoon. Someone that flies both. Airbus is easy to fly, Boeing is more manual. I'd agree with that. I don't know too much about Boeing, I'm afraid. Not realistically like I do the Airbus. Richard, before update 5 you made a backup of all your converted A320NX liveries, removed them from the community folder, tried to put them back now and all of them work fine. That's interesting, Richard, because I've not had the same success. Having said that, I don't have any, I only have one A320NX livery, and that's the channel livery, this one here. Thank you, Nick, for doing that. I thought you'd gone to work. Thiago, hello from Brazil, and Loghig, thank you for subscribing, appreciate that. Oh, see, that's a nice view, isn't it? Okay, couple of minutes, and we'll plan our arrival. After we've passed Papa Echo Sierra, we'll do our arrival. I also want to do a fuel check as well. Carl, if you can't find the community folder, sometimes I think the things are hidden. Do a Google search. There's lots of help out there to help you find it. It is hidden deep in a huge level layer of subfolders. Aviation Guy 123, is there a video on the channel about how to read the approach charts? There's not, but I'm about to go through it with you all in a moment, so stick with us. Auntie Pepper, hello, good afternoon. Any more graphic changes that have helped? As soon as this video is finished, I'm going to release a video. Check that one out, and that will help all of you, regardless of your computer settings. It'll give you the tools that you need to be able to get your graphics back to where you want them to be. Gavin Zellis, hello. Have I had any issues with the A320 since the update today on you've been having trouble getting past 250 knots? It's the weather, mate. It's live weather. It's broken. Turn live weather off and have to use a preset, which is what I'm flying on right now. Gaming Ben, you still think Azobo should have said something? Yeah, well, I'll have to agree. Right, let's do a fuel check, shall we? So what have we got? We've got 5.6 tons, and at PES, so we should see around 4.6 tons on here if we're doing okay. Oh, come on. Mouse cursor not working. Oh, look at that. I said 4.6 tons. Look at that. 4.6 tons. Almost exactly. Fuel burn spot on. 1 hour 31 minutes. And we're 3 minutes ahead of time as well. Result. Lawrence DK. Of course I will fly the A320. It's an Airbus. I'll fly the A380. Sorry, when it comes out. Yeah. Good Monday, hello. What do I do when I'm more than halfway to the destination and the program suddenly turns off? Do you mean if you get a crash to desktop, how can I pick it up from where you were? I have done this. I have done this in the past. It's happened before on a live stream, and I've had to quickly pick it up from, as you say, where I were, or where I was. Would a video on that be useful, do you think? It's pretty straightforward to do, but obviously I can't show you right now because we're flying. Dialgo, the destination of today's flight is Milan in Italy. Richard, I can confirm LNAV has been written. I can confirm it has been tested. I can confirm I have tested it and it works very nicely. Voila, my sim brief profile for the A320X is available to download on our Discord server. The clouds shouldn't be this thick. Just try and get it as close to real world weather as possible. Let's just reduce the coverage of those, and this ground layer as well. Oh, should perhaps be a little bit more than that. Where have they all gone? I didn't turn them all on, all off. There we go. That's probably a little bit better, isn't it? There we are. That's a bit closer to real world. I'm having to make my own up at the minute as real world weather's not working. Okay. Shall we do the approach brief? Sounds like a good idea. Okay, so we know that we are expecting to land on runway 35 left using the Mebber 2 Echo arrival. Now, let's bring the charts up. So the Mebber 2 Echo arrival begins here at Mebber. So at Mebber we need to be at 250 knots maximum. Now what happens in the real world, let's have a look at this this arrival route. We're coming from Mebber, and you've got the headings on there just as a backup, a failsafe, because this is all coded, hard-coded into the navigation computer, so autopilot will fly all. But what happens in the real world is that you fly from here, and then you go north, then you come back, you go south, you come back, you go north, you come back, and eventually you end up at Inler, which is the initial approach fix. That's where the start of your approach down to the runway actually begins. Now the chances of flying this full approach are very, very slim. This is there purely for spacing, so if there's 20 aircraft all due to land at Milan at the same time, they're going to put you on this approach so that they can space you out all quite nicely, like that. So what will most likely happen is from Mebber, air traffic control will possibly tell you to descend and go direct to, say, Mike Charlie 435. They will cut out all of this because that is a long approach. So we're going to have to get that, and to be honest, that's probably what I'm going to do as well. So Mike Charlie, we're going to aim for Mike Charlie 435, and I want to be at 5,000 feet. 5,000 feet, just there. Now, in order to do that, we also need to be careful of the terrain around the airport, because if I just come out of this, close that down. So here's Mebber, look, that's where the start of the approach is, just there. Start of the approach is here, and yeah, we're going to start our descent, and then the distance between Mebber and that first this point here. Sadly, we can't really guess it, but looking at this, I'm going to guesstimate rather that it's around probably around 20 miles or so. So then what we're going to do is we want to be 5,000 feet at MC435. So how do we know how far we are away from MC435? That's pretty straightforward, because we can now come down here, go to the progress page, type in Mike Charlie 435. 226 miles away from Mike Charlie 435, so that's how far we are away from here, and I want to be at 5,000 feet. But there's another caveat to be thrown into there. I also need to be a maximum speed of 210 knots by Mike Charlie 435. So when are we going to start our descent? We're at flight level 380. So 38 minus 5, 33 times 3, so that's 99, so around 100 miles. We've also got a headwind. Well, it's not real world weather, is it? But in the simulator at the moment, we've got a very slight headwind. Wind is negligible, so for all intents and purposes, we're going to start descending probably nice and steady around 100 and let's call it 115 miles away from Mike Charlie 435. From Mike Charlie 435 then we're pretty much lined up with intercepting the ILS for runway 35 left. Yeah, at Inler, the initial approach fix. So other things I want to be aware of: the transition altitude here in Milan is 6,000 feet. The platform altitude, which is the lowest we're allowed to go until we're established on the glide slope, is 3,000 feet. Minimum safe altitude around the airport is also 3,000 feet. And the visibility is good and fine, so it's above 550 meters. It's going to be a Cat 1 approach. We are a Category C aircraft, so 896 is our decision height. Now, the QNH, well, that depends whether we're using live weather or not. We can turn live weather on, actually. Once we get a little bit lower and we're descending down, we can turn live weather back on. So that's okay. So how far are we away from 314 miles? Let's get the weather and we're going to pop that in. Paradox Joe, is anyone else having the bug when hovering? Or it's not a bug, it's a new thing that they brought in for Xbox users. You can turn it off. I can't remember where it is, but check out the video that I did and released all about sim update number 5, and it goes through and tells you when to turn that off. Mustafa GT, I'm using, I think it was Broken Clouds, Scattered Clouds weather preset, but I did edit them a little bit so it wasn't quite as bulky. Trying to emulate real world weather as much as I can. The winds have dropped off now, which is good. Kyle is the best gamer. Good afternoon, Kyle. Hope you're well. Not seen you for a while, my friend. Hope you've not been working too hard. We'll go to the performance page and enter all this information in. So we will be using live weather as we come back in. So QNH is going to be 1012. Temperature will be 26. Camera Mini, how do I make the sim working? Yours crashes when you're flying the fly-by-wire developer version. remove all your liveries. That would be the first thing I say. Remove all your liveries and make sure you haven't got the stable build left over in your packages from the content manager if you've ever downloaded this fly-by-wire version from the marketplace. Winds are variable, so let's go 350 at 2. Transition altitude 6,000 feet. And decision altitude is 896. Perfect. Let's talk about the missed approach then. So the ILS frequency for this is 109.1. We'll check that's coded in. Elevation of our runway is 696. Liam, thank you for subscribing. Missed approach. Climb to 145 and then a left turn, a maximum of 210 knots. To follow the 267 Malpensa VOR direct to Nilab and join a holding at Nilab at 4,000 feet. Camera Mini 76, yeah, try not to fly with liveries. At the moment, liveries are causing a lot of problems unless you are absolutely certain that your livery is designed for sim update number 5. So let's code in the missed approach. So we're going to go to the RadNav page. We can check 109.1 is the ILS. That's already in there, so that's fine. Mike Papa is the Malpensa VOR, and the course we will need to fly is climb on runway heading to 1,450. We then make a left turn, a max speed of 210 knots. We'll talk about that in a second. To intercept and follow the 267 radial, so we can pop that in as well. 267. There we go. And that's all coded in. Right, so that's speed in that left-hand turn, max speed of 210 knots. Let's have a look at our performance calculations. Oh, we can do it clean. No, we can't. Clean speed is 233, so I'll have to fly that at flaps 193. Let's hope we don't need to do the missed approach. So hopefully all that made sense, and it's now nicely briefed. We know what we're doing. We also want to make sure we keep the speed up as well, up until around 6 miles from touchdown. Dijon, does anyone have issues with managed heading mode? No, I don't think so. Mitch, what is the current circumstances with Microsoft Flight Simulator? Iffy. I think it's the best way to describe that. Iffy. Graphics certainly don't look as good as they did, but as I keep saying, I've got a video coming out straight after this live stream's finished, which will get your graphics back and hopefully looking something a bit more like this when flying at high level.
Ladies and gentlemen, take full advantage of your tax-free allowances today and make some amazing savings with our boutique range. In your in-flight brochure, you'll find details of our award-winning selection of gifts, most with massive discounts, some of which are exclusive to you as an Easyjet customer. Make the most of your opportunity to shop and save from the comfort of your seat. If you'd like to see any products, have any questions, or would like to make great savings, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
Alfie asks, why is there another A320 in the marketplace for like £20? Is it better or something? Which one's that? I've not seen that. FL350, why does your fly-by-wire keep flashing lever climb? Because your thrust levers are not set in the climb tent. They may visually look like it, but compared to what they are actually on the electronic flight bag settings, if they've not been calibrated correctly, then they may not be. So that's why. Just move your thrust lever ever so slightly, and it should get that stopping for you once it's falling in the exact space. The other thing you can do is just recalibrate the thrust lever settings in the electronic flight bag. Rockstar Energy on Twitch, hello. Richard Adams, good afternoon, hope you're well. Right, how far are we away from our top of descent? I said about 150 miles, didn't I? We're at 150 miles. Right, what about landing, stopping distance? Even though the runway is huge, we still technically legally have to do this. Okay, so QNH runway altitude is 969. Runway heading is 348. Runway slope negligible. Landing distance available. Let's have a look. Landing distance available. 435 left is 3,550 meters. 3515. Our approach speed is, what's our approach speed? It's normally about 130. 128. And what's our landing weight going to be? Okay, well, if we now go to our fuel prediction page, we're going to be landing with 3.3 tons of fuel on board. What have we got at the moment? 4.9 tons of fuel on board. So basically you just do subtraction. 4.9 minus 3.3 gives you 1.6, and we take that off here. So 64.5 minus 1.6 is 62.9. So that's very close to 63 tons. Let's be conservative and say 63.5 tons. So 63.5 tons. Yeah, fully configured. Don't need to run the overweight procedure. Reverse thrust, no. And calculate. So low brakes should stop us within 2706. That's fine. Because as I said, we want to roll quite nicely if we can to Delta Mike. Or if we go any further, we'll get off at Delta Echo or even Echo Mike. So, auto brake low. We're going to check that that works actually when we land, because I've heard some reports that doesn't even work. Tommy14, how did I get my A320X to work? Make sure you've got the dev build, not the stable build, which was the version available from the marketplace. If you have downloaded it from the marketplace, you need to remove the packages from the content manager. Then you can download the dev build from the FlyByWire website. Roxar, have I had any crash detect stops on the sim? Oh yeah. Usually associated with liveries though. Liveries are the culprit at the moment. Wayne, you are back. Good to see you. Alfie, you can never have a smooth climb to your cruising altitude. Your plane either jolts up or down, side to side. Is it something to do with QNH? No, it's something to do with live weather. Live weather is broken, my friend. Forget live weather. Use a preset. Once you get down to around 10,000 feet, or maybe 15, then below 15,000 feet, use live weather. Above that, use a preset because it's just not working. It has the temperatures much higher than they actually are, so your engines can't function properly. Right, time to go down.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck once again, you will be delighted to hear that we will shortly be starting our descent into our destination, at which point the cabin crew will start preparing for our arrival.
Thrust idle open descent
Please make sure
100 blue.
the cabin crew are able to make their way around the aircraft without any luggage in the aisles. That would be most appreciated. A reminder for our Easyjet Simpilot members that free drinks are still available from the cabin crew until the seatbelt signs are turned on. Please note, however, that the toilets will shortly go out of use. Thank you.
Do I know what button to press to move the camera around in the passenger view? You need to set up custom views. By default, the default wing views don't allow you to move around, but if you set up custom views, then you can, such as like this, and I can also zoom in as well and check out wherever that is. I don't know where that is, but it looks very nice, doesn't it? You can see the football stadium down there on the main intersections of highways, motorways. Highways? I've suddenly become American. Top Gun B, I saw Mac on the FMA. Is that the same as speed when you're below flight level 250? Oh, yes and no. Basically, below flight level 250, aircraft use indicated airspeed. Above that, they use Mach speed relative to the speed of sound. Now, whilst we're on this descent, one thing we need to check is the minimum altitudes. So, where are we? We're headed towards Balak. Be careful how I pronounce that one. So I've set a flight level of 100, so 100 should keep us nice and safe. We can actually get down to 8,000 feet at Mebor. We don't want to be any lower than 8,000 feet at Mebor, which doesn't give us a lot of time to get down, so we're going to need to slow down quite nicely, because at Mebor, if we're going to get to 8,000 feet, well actually no, that's not so bad. So we're going to be 8,000 feet at Mebor. That gives us then 3,000 feet to lose by the time we get to MC 435. That's okay. Mitch, is that into Milan? Ha, fantastic. Hang on. Are you sure? It better not be. Unless Inter Milan Stadium is... unless Inter Milan Stadium is 200 miles away from Milan. That ain't Inter Milan. So what we can also use to help gauge our descent profile now, the fact that I've got the VOR set to Malpensa, which is pretty much on the airport, then I've also got a distance just here. But this is where we want to be using to get down to 5,000 feet. But we're on our way down now, so that's good. That's okay. Rockstar, how long do I think it'll be before they release another hotfix in the sim? I think one of the things they need to do is acknowledge the fact that there is still a problem. See, can I use live weather now? Let's see. We're just coming down to 260, so we're not going to. Engines will be running at idle anyway. But if I just switch live weather on, see what happens there. Yeah, look, see, plus 61. That's no good. I'll turn it on when we get closer. When we get a little bit lower down, rather. That did just delay our descent a little bit, so I don't want to faff around with that again too much, otherwise we're going to find ourselves far too high for the approach. You can see how short the taxi was back at Mykonos, because we pushed back 2 hours 6 minutes ago, and we've been airborne for 1 hour 55 minutes, so 9 minutes from pushback to takeoff. That's pretty special. Top Gun B, do you still have a download for your custom views and instructions on how to install them? Yes, yeah, I do. It's still there on the channel, and the views are available to download on our Discord server in the pilot's briefing room. Rockstar Energy says, I think they need to shut down the server and do some proper maintenance on the simulator, not just a small hotfix. Oh, that'd be interesting though, wouldn't it? If they actually shut down the server. What would we all do? I'm just checking that I've set us to get down to 10,000 feet, that we're not going to break any minimum safe altitudes here. No, we're not. We're good. We're fine. So I'm now going to set 8,000 feet. Fly the weight 0 blue. And that's good because we've got about 40 miles, well no, we've got over 40 miles to go to Meba. That gives us time to slow down. So all I'm doing now is, because we don't have VNAV, just monitoring that rate of descent against where I want us to be. Brian Crawley, good afternoon. Hope you're well. Well, you just check Navigraph and it's expensive. It is and it isn't. I don't know. It depends how much you're going to get out of it, how much you're going to use it. I use it almost every day, so for me it's worth it. And I pay monthly as well, so it's not all in one go, which I think makes a big difference. So we're 10,000 feet above the altitude I want to be at Meba, which is normally about 30 miles, and we're more than 30 miles away from Meba, so that's good. That gives it time to slow down. We can start rolling that speed back a little bit, because we need to be at 250 knots, if you recall, by the time we get to Meba. What do I think monthly is better than yearly? Oh yeah. You don't notice it as much. And neither does the wife. Brian, I can't answer that in case I jinx it. Brian asks, have I had any CTDs on this flight? Okay, so I'm now going to set a V speed of around 1600 feet per minute, speed 1600 blue, and I'm now going to start to reduce that. I want to target 250 knots, of course. We're not going to slow down too much at this V speed. But we're going to start to lose a little bit of the airspeed. You can see that speed just slowly starting to bleed off now, as we're now around 30 miles from Mebo. Scott, does having more liveries in your community folder mean you get more when AI more AI liveries, do you mean? At the moment I think the more liveries you've got in your community folder, the more chance you've got to crash the desktop, sadly. It's sad, but it's true. Seatbelt signs coming on. Approach checklist. Minimum set both side engine mode select is normal electrical fabric is stowed, and we've briefed our approach. So what I'm doing now is my best to maintain a nice continuous approach down to well, down to the runway. If we have to level off, it just means we burn a bit more fuel, and airlines don't like that. Brian, is it true that Aerosoft have pulled the real traffic out on? I've no idea. It might be, because they've probably just busted all their liveries, which would be a shame, wouldn't it? Okay, so we're probably low enough now that I can switch live weather back on. Let's see. Still showing plus 34. Ouch. Well, that meant that we lost airspeed rather rapidly. I'm going to leave it in for now. Just need to be aware of it. So we're coming through 10,000 feet. Let's get those lights on as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, you may have noticed that we have just begun our final descent into our destination. If you could now assist the cabin crew by tidying up your tray table and handing them any litter as they come around, that would be most appreciated. For safety reasons, we ask now that you please turn off all electronic devices or switch them to airplane mode until after we have landed. Please note that the aircraft toilets are now out of use. If you wish to become a Easyjetsimpilot channel member, please contact a member of your cab crew who will be happy to assist you. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed your flight.
I've just been obviously checking the approach, but also reading your comments about that Aerosoft platform. That is a real shame. That is Oh, can you? I can't imagine the words that were spoken in the Aerosoft office the other day. And it's stuff like that that I don't want to bash Azovo, I really don't, but it's stuff like that that annoys me a little bit. They've got to work with developers. They've just got to. Okay, so it looks like we're getting quite close to terrain here, but that's fine. We're above the minimums that we can go to, so no problems with that. What we're going to do now, if you recall, we're going to go direct to Mike Charlie 435 in a second, and then we're going to get down to 5,000 feet. So, go direct. I'm going to have to scroll through this for quite a lot. Mike Charlie 435, that's the one. We're now going direct to Mike Charlie 435. I'm going to activate the approach phase as well. Which has got me going in a different way. I also need to get down to 5,000 feet. Open descent. Let's get back on track to Mike Charlie 435, shall we? Oh. Well, we might have to go to Mike Charlie 430. Because 435 wasn't available to us. There we go. Milan traffic, Alpine 76 Papa Charlie at flight level 70 for flight level for altitude 5,000. Inbound Mike Charlie 435 on the Meba 2 Echo arrival for runway 35 left. And we're going to reduce the airspeed as well. Manage speed will do that. Canada chat, when you're descending from a cruising altitude, oh yeah, you'd use you use VS, don't use track FPA. A little bit of weather that we're coming through, a few light showers of rain. It did say there's a potential for thunderstorms. Looks like they haven't materialised, that's okay. Oh, look at that, the ISA is much better now. So this is more realistic. Lewis Aviation, hello. So we also need to slow down to 210 knots by the time we get to 435. That's plenty of time. Thankfully, I had forgotten to set local pressure. The Airbus gave me a swift reminder. 5,000 blue. Had I done the FMAs correctly, that would have reminded me. Just reduce that rate of descent a little bit, probably a little bit too late, so that made very little difference. Here comes the rain. And this is why we like live weather, isn't it? So we got down perhaps a little bit too early, but that's okay. Actually, at MC435, we want to be below 5,000 feet. Well, 5,000 feet or below, so that's absolutely fine. Pizzato, the constraints on the navigation display are basically sort of restrictions, really, that you've got to follow. So at this waypoint, we've got to be below 5,000 feet, or at 5,000 feet and below, a maximum speed of 210 knots. And at this one, we've got to be above 4,000 feet, still maximum 210 knots. So each approach sometimes has little constraints that you've got to follow. And if you are in managed mode, then the aircraft should respect those.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be landing. Please ensure your cabin bag is safely stowed with your laptop inside. Your tray table must be stowed, armrest down, and window blind open. You now need to be seated with your seatbelt fastened, ready for landing. Please help us by handing in any rubbish, newspapers, or magazines that you do not want to take with you. The toilets are no longer in service.
And 121.9, the ground is actually online, so let's get that keyed in. I don't know if some weather has just changed there. We just lost some airspeed. That shouldn't have happened. Squine Gaming, if tower says expedite your climb to flight level 290, you do as you're told. You get up to flight level 290. It means hurry up. So just waiting for the ILS information to populate as well. That is a glorious view ahead of us. And live weather doing its thing once again. Okay, so we're going to go flaps 1. I'm going to pull the speed actually, and then go flaps 1, speed checked. Flaps 1. And we're going to set speed of 210 knots. Right hand turn should be coming up any second. And we'll come out, when we do pick up the ILS frequency, we should come out more or less bang on the ILS. It's a nice straight in approach, this one, if you've taken that little shortcut. Obviously if you're doing this, then you're turning left, but even so, we don't really intercept the ILS until around Inla, which we're still 15 miles away. But this approach just keeps us nice and low, basically to get us out of the way of all the aircraft that are departing, spinning around away from the Alps and flying over the top of us. So we're nice and low for a while on this one. Stuart, my livery is available to channel members, yes. Visix on Twitch, live weather is still broken, yes, but you can put live weather on below about 10,000 feet because it doesn't make much difference just then. So we're on live weather now, and it's looking rather nice. And we're going to descend to 3,000 feet very shortly. And at 3,000 feet we're going to intercept the ILS, glide slope rather, so we can now do that. Let's select 3,000 feet, but we're going to use VS. That should get us down nice and steady. Plenty of time. Oops. 500 feet per minute should be fine. Lawrence DK, yeah, I just already briefed that ground is online. We've already got that queued up on the standby. We now need to slow down to a maximum speed of 210 knots. Sorry, correction, 200 knots. Flaps 1 are already out, nice and early. And we can see we picked up the ILS slightly to the left of it. Let's go lock start. We'll capture that ILS now, although that looks like a rather aggressive bank. We weren't that far off course. Lock green, Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2 engaged. A320, if there's no one higher than the ground on at your airport, you're basically still on Unicom until you touch down. Dwyer, that's correct, we're on Unicom. Milan traffic, Alpine 76 Papa Charlie established, runway 35 left, 21 miles to run. So I think out of all the airports that I've ever landed in, this has probably got sort of like the longest run-in on the ILS. Nice long low level flying, and a very far extended localizer run. Say we've been on that localizer roughly now for about 30 miles. Not that the localizer range extends that far. But visibility is good, so autopilot will be coming off once we get down to about 1,000 feet. And I'll be making a manual landing. While the approach button enables the aircraft and arms the aircraft ready to capture the glide slope. So at the moment, the localizer only captures the localizer, the left and right of the ILS beam. The approach will capture the up and down, the glide slope as well. But at the time when we were that far out, the glide slope was nowhere to be seen, but the localizer was, so I just armed the localizer so we could capture that. Wicked Silgal, don't worry about it. Start off with small aircraft. I mean, I'm flying a complicated Airbus A320 here, but jump in a Cessna and enjoy. Trading, you don't ask ask for clearance if you're on Unicom. On Unicom, you just tell other players around you what it is you are doing. No one can give you permission or stop you really from doing anything on Unicom. Alienware 18, if you're having issues with the FlyByWire version, make sure you have uninstalled the stable build. If you had that downloaded from the marketplace, that is now broken, and it will continue to break any subsequent versions of the Airbus A320NX. So get rid of that and ensure that you then download from the FlyByWire website directly using their installer. Also get rid of all liveries for the A320NX because not many of them work, sadly. Fly NY, what's the point of the VOR? Okay, the VOR is armed in there in case we have to go on a missed approach, so we use the VOR to know how far we are away from the airport when we're coming back around, etc. So it's there for situational awareness, really. $10 miles to run. Glide slope's going to start coming in now, so we're going to set flaps 2 in a second. We've gone back into managed speed. There's that glide slope. And flaps 2, speed checked, flaps 2. And we want to set around 160 knots until 5 miles DME. Glide slope captured.
2,500.
Radio altimeter alive. Missed approach. Altitude is set.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
5 miles. Landing gear. Spoilers. Manage speed, flaps 3. Speed checked, flaps 3. And flaps full. Malpensa traffic, Alpine 76 Papa Charlie. 4 mile final, runway 35 left. So keeping an eye on those winds at the moment. There's hardly anything there, so that's good. Treadween and normally put landing gear out about between 5 and 6 miles.
1,000.
1,000 feet. Happy with how everything's working there. So we can now knock autopilot out. I have control. Downgraded to Cat 3 single. I love this approach with the Alps in the background. So now we're just obviously watching the Pappies, looking out the window, maintaining that centre line. Autopilot's doing a grand job of getting us on that centre line. 500 feet, approach stable. Hardly any wind to speak of, which is just beautiful.
100 above. Minimum.
Keep an eye on the landing zone now.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
And spoilers deployed, reversers on. Decel. Reverse green, auto brake low is doing its job. 70 knots, reversers off. Knock out the auto brake low, and we shall vacate. Oh, thrust reversers didn't knock off then for some reason.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we ask that you remain seated until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off. Portable electronic devices for messaging, calls or internet access may not be used. Please make sure that you take all your personal belongings with you, checking in the seat pocket, underneath the seat and in the overhead lockers. Do take care when opening the lockers in case anything falls out. Smoking is not permitted until you reach a designated smoking area.
So
On behalf of the
let's
captain and
contact
crew, it has been our
the
pleasure
ground
looking after you today.
frequency.
Our ground crew will help you complete your Easyjet journey. For the latest news, promotions, flight and destination information, check out our official Facebook page, Twitter or Easyjet app.
Milan ground, Alpine 76 Papa Charlie, vacated runway 35 left.
Alpine 76 Papa Charlie, Mountains grounded. Good evening, welcome to Milano. Continue on Charlie, then stand 110.
Continue on Charlie to stand 110, Alpine 76 Papa Charlie. So exactly as briefed. Those brake temperatures around 200, 210 degrees. So left turn here on to Charlie, and then stand 110, which is almost straight ahead of us. Okay guys, if you have enjoyed the flight this afternoon, stick with me for a couple more minutes, and we have a video coming up on how to get your graphics looking better since sim update number 5. So give the video a like for me if you've enjoyed that and found it useful today. Hit the subscribe button, and as I say, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss that video, which is coming up very shortly after we've shut down at the gate. I also don't get to see the landing rate that you guys just saw. So didn't look too bad from the pilot view. Lawrence, what is the advantage of using both autopilot, autopilot 1 and 2? It's redundancy in case one fails. And if you're using, if you're doing an auto land as well, autopilots 1 and 2 need to be engaged. So stand 110 looks like it's where the tug is, just here actually. So that's quite nice. So left, and then a right just here. Sadly the taxi line disappears, so we just kind of have to bluff our way onto the shadow of this aircraft that was there previously. Got my taxi lights reflecting in the glass. Let's get those off so we don't blind the ground crew that should be there but haven't bothered to turn up. There we go. Parking brake set. APU is running, and engine masters 1 and 2. Treadweed, make sure you check out the video that's on the channel regarding how to practice on VATSIM as well. That logbook looked different. Not that I paid too much attention to that. Passengers, seatbelt signs off, beacon light come off as well. Can we call any ground vehicles? Let's see. There's the GPU. That's not in the right place. Would you mind coming and connecting to us, please, sir? Preferably without reversing into us. Oh, that doesn't look safe. Oh well, never mind. Everything looks pretty good. We can now get the ground power unit sorted. Are we going to get some stairs there as well? There they are. Wonderful. Okay guys, there we are, safely down in Milan, and I'm happy to say no crash to desktops. So that has been a wonderful success, and great graphics all the way around. Shame there was not as much air traffic control online as I would have hoped, but never mind. Beautiful. Right everybody, that's been great fun. Thank you so much for watching. As I say, stick around. In the next 5-10 minutes or so, I'm going to get a video online which will explain to you how I have managed to get some graphics back following sim update number 5. So if that's what you're after, stick around, and I hope you enjoy that video as well. Thank you so much for watching today. Really enjoyed your company throughout this flight. It's been a decent length flight as well, decent length stream, which is always nice. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Big thank you to all of you that have donated and contributed to the channel, as well as our Easyjetsimpilot channel members, who I'm always eternally grateful for your continued support. I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Have a great day. Please do hit like on the button on the stream before you disappear, and subscribe as well if you found the flight entertaining or useful in any shape, size or form. I look forward to seeing you all for the next flight very, very soon. Have a great Monday evening, guys. Bye bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck once again, I hope you have enjoyed your flight with us today here on Easyjet. On behalf of myself, the first officer and the cabin crew, may we wish you a safe and pleasant journey from the airport, and we hope to see you again very soon. In order to increase the comfort of your next flight, please take a look at joining the Easyjetsimpilot channel, and we offer extra perks for those frequent flyers. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.